close range that might even have some difficulty against a Ruby in lane. Granger is the safe and obvious pick, but then if it doesn't go well, it's going to be a long game. They go for the Moskov so that, well, they can open up the map this way, and then you have some space creation with the knockback that you have. You can play away from the objectives through SOD. I'm still leaning a little bit more towards RORA here. Falcons, I feel like it's so dependent. If they can get a good early 4 minutes, the first 4 minutes will really determine how happy Falcons will be here.
Okay. Well, with that, it's locked in for game one. I think both compositions have a good game plan, you know, so from start to finish, but even so, I think this Kagura is the biggest curveball for me to make work, because so far, statistically, and even what we saw a month ago, it didn't work out too well for some teams. Yes, it was a surprise, but can they make it work here for this time around in game one? You guys can let us know what you guys think, who has the better lineup as we get one last glimpse of it. And I don't know, man. For me personally, I got to lean towards RORA here.
Yeah, it's unorthodox, but it's efficient. Again, Redmar mentioned it's a known element, what it's capable of doing. For Falcons, they seem to be throwing a lot into many different directions.
Yeah.
And I'm not so sure what the game plan is, even on a macro level.
Well, let's see what we have here once again. The Philippine Arena is packed for this one, this matchup between these two teams, Aurora and Team Falcons, to kick it off this best of three and to round out our day one here for MPL Philippines Season 16. Looking at this, you know, what can we expect here from Team Falcons? Are they going to be playing to the tune of Aurora in the early game?
I mean, going up against the Selena and the High Loss together, they should be. However, one thing I will be saying for the Falcons lineup is that they are so good at the counter punish that if Aurora slip up one engagement and Few and Kyle are left unchecked, then it wouldn't be surprising to see Falcons take a 3 or 4 minute 1 to 2K gold lead that quickly.
And with a lineup that has 3 cores, the way Falcons has, that's dangerous to give them that kind of a lead early on.
Yeah, and even more, again, as expected, CC is having a grand old time up against Edward in the EXP lane, with the Lapu-Lapu only being able to do so much. So you sort of nerf a little bit of what Edward can bring to the table in terms of dueling in lane. However, the value of Edward on that Lapu-Lapu will be seen a little bit more come the objective fights. So if any of these two teams commit rotation to the EXP side to build the lead, and so far it looks like Calteezy setting up for it, but Edward, I feel like he knows something is up. And with the river control of Aurora, yeah, that's info for Edward to play it safe.
Yeah, I mean, for both sides, waiting for that level 4 to be nice little take there for Demon Kite.
Yeah.
Again, the level 4 is going to be crucial here, I feel like, for Team Falcons, and they just don't have it right now for Ogun or Few. So they might end up losing out on this first objective as it's pulled through light, but Rest Aurora isn't going for it just yet.
Yua here, putting Ogun down to a quarter of his health. Few throwing out that umbrella. RORA making way here. Still has the Mount Shaka, there you go. All of the members of Falcons are exposed. Down goes Furs, Edward take him down.
Kyle.
Down goes Demon Kite. The turtle goes over to the Falcons, and in comes Marco, SOD, wailing away, and they get another down. All goes to the Falcons.
Exactly what we were talking about around 3 minute mark. It was just the first turtle, and Kyle TZ was left unchecked. He was able to get the double kill, and yeah, it did not help that Super Marco was actually able to land the SOD and join in the fight.
Hey man, that's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, how often do you actually see a Moskov go and join the first fights? Now, we usually see a Spear Destruction thrown, but not the follow-through. So for Team Falcons, a good fight early on for them. So go ahead and continue on, but RORA's not too far behind. They're still just going to go ahead and go back to the rotations. Again, they can go ahead and play with the fact that Team Falcons, they can respond that way, but also there's this window with this kind of lineup for them to work. If they avoid, you know, that the setup from Few and Kyle TZ later on, they should be able to survive some of those team fights and out-maneuver or at least out-damage them.
Yeah, and exactly. It's what we talked about earlier. The nature of having a Kagura and a Joy in your lineup is that if you mess up your initial start to that fight and you don't put enough pressure onto the Joy or the Kagura, their punishment is way too damn good.
Yeah. Little spear thrown out, but just a pretty much bringing it back to the pace here for both. Now, we've talked a lot about Light leading into this matchup, and I don't think he's going to do too much with the high-lows here this time. Again, it's mostly just kind of covering your ground, dropping down the pathway when you can, and keeping the team in a fighting form with the Revitalize even. So it's up to how fast, I guess you could say, the scaling can go here for Demon Kite on the YSS. And once again, playing around these arrows. Edward will be crucial too. The fact that he got that kill earlier on gives him a little bit of a head start here on the Lapu Lapu.
RORA gets another chance to go again. Turtle spawns at the same spot, upper quarter. And they're now setting up for an orange take first. No, Demon Kite making a beeline, but Falcon's already started up.
Wow, they're blitzing it.
Oh, Shocker already. Edward with the bravest fighter. Falcons secure it quickly. They get the shields, they get the buffs, but Ferg gets taken down one more time. Light here keeping down Kyle, and the ALG comes through. Down goes Few. Once more, Ogwin regrets popping his ult. That's 4 down for free. The Northern Lights go crazy.
This time, this goes much better for Aurora because they were able to check the targets that they needed to check. They checked Kyle, they checked Few, and Edward this time was left unchecked by Falcons, meaning that the damage that he dished out just took down Falcons way too fast.
And the best part is the damage was in the right spot for Aurora. The main difference between Falcons' very magic-heavy lineup, at least in the early to mid-game, is they have great AoE. RORA doesn't. RORA needs to pick their targets well. In that fight, they picked their targets well.
Yeah, and that glorious pathway and the Revitalize helped, again, being crucial in that fight on this Hylos. There's a pull here, Super Marco should be fine. But that's the thing, too. And I guess that's where one of the power plays of having a Selena comes into play is when you're on a disengage. Kyle, is he going to get caught?
Yep.
And he gets the tail end of that Mountain Shocker. Light drops the glorious pathway. Kyle, no more dashes. In comes Ogwin, and the rest of Falcons respond. Few goes in, flickers through, takes down Demon Kite, slaying the MVP. So far of this lineup, all of the vision taken out of the equation. The vengeance by Ferds. RORA now stopped in their tracks. 2K gold lead still intact.
Could have been way worse. I mean, I saw RORA saying, hey, let's just full charge into here. A jump from Ogwin, but still, they hold on to a nice lead.
Yeah, you see how well Aurora will be able to play around the Revitalize once they get to a difficult situation for them. It was a great entrance by Ogwin and follow-up by Few to help cover for Kyle. It just seems like it was difficult for Ferg to make an impact there, and they weren't able to make the most out of it. Again, with the sheer damage output that the Lapu Lapu that's been left undisturbed so far in this game, Falcons really need to check Edward at some point. They need to bring him down low. He has a 2-level lead against Ferg's CC.
Wow, so that's the turtle just gone. Secured very quickly. Little spear thrown, of course, but nice little push. Again, Team Falcons had to go ahead and grab something. They knew they wouldn't be able to go ahead and contest that turtle, so they traded out. And Super Marco still doing what we see a lot of the gold laners have to do right now. You just kind of go into this mode where I'll take what I can across the map and I'll farm up as quickly as possible. Kyle could be dealing with some pressure here, though, around his orange.
Yeah, the Falcons need to help answer that. I think Kyle will be able to walk away with his orange relatively well, unless US somehow throws a miraculous arrow. Oh, nope, he was able to take it. A quick item check, 2 Genius Wands, one for the Joy, one for the Kagura. So still, Aurora need to watch out for the damage output burst that could come from the 2 magic damage dealers. Dominance Ice for the Gatot Gacha. Radiant Armor Rush there for Light, important.
Demon Kite has been too quiet for the past 7.5 minutes. He's had a great time laning, and he's now on his 3rd item building. This is dangerous. We haven't even seen a flicker I'm offended yet. Imagine what that would do to ruin Falcons.
That's crazy too. Look at the damage here. He's just under Light as well. So it's like now his time is where we see this Ruby gold lane work.
Yeah, and if you're Falcons, and if there's really so much that you can do up against that Ruby in the laning phase, you don't want to draw attention to Super Marco's lane, so you leave it alone. Now here it's the threat of, wait, do we have enough tools to make sure that this Ruby has a hard time? I didn't see a lot of like glowing wands just yet, not a lot of like dominance ices or Z-halberds. They do have one, but at this point, we've seen it so many times in the past that the Ruby doesn't care this early on. It's really only in the late game where Ruby starts feeling, all right, yeah, I'm just another tank at this point. Yeah. But at this point, Ruby is a very efficient, damage-packed, sustain-packed tool in your toolkit.
Short to say, we've yet to see the worst of Demon Kite. He's still gonna tilt this even further towards Aurora, given they have a 4,000 gold lead, Lord spawning up top. Falcons have to find quite a clutch to even contest.
Yeah, because when you want to go into this objective, I feel like that's where Rora's lineup's going to shine. They have so many tools to go ahead and throw out crowd control, throw out a possibility to cut things off, an arrow.
Right to the face of Few here. Force the flicker back. There's the Mountain Shocker, ensuring all but the secured Lord. And now here comes the rest of Falcons. Down goes Yue. Glorious Pathway by Light. Who are they targeting? It looks like Falcons have scrambled. Super Marco pushing down bottom. Tier 1. First bomb in the bench is not going to be enough. 1 for 1 so far. But Aurora are happy with what they walked away with.
Incredibly unfortunate the Super Marcos SOD didn't land. Could have been a different story if it did happen. Ferds got off a great curtain call to the right members of Aurora. You saw the damage swing favoring Falcons, but the fact that they didn't have their gold laner with them, again with this missed SOD, no surprise that Aurora won that.
Yeah, so this Lord should be handled pretty quickly, but Aurora will still go ahead and put pressure where they can. Maybe the tier 2s. I don't know if they actually get to the base here because Team Falcons should be able to clear things out pretty well. As you can see, trying to hold down the tier 2.
Look at that. That's just a Fury Hammer, War Axe, and a Queen's Wings. And he already deals that much damage.
That's a little bit of a lot. Across those so across the 3 items, that's a lot of damage spread out on a singular Lapu Lapu.
That's the bravest fighter for you, man, you know? Shields are going to pop here in the mid, up top as well, and bottom to follow. So Team Falcons, 10 minutes in, 6,000 nearly, gold behind. They're going to have to hold on for a while, and this is what we've been seeing so far, especially when you're just kind of relying on, that spike to happen here for the gold lane, but you do have like a combo that can work, and that's what we've been talking about ever since the draft between Few.
They do catch Ferds, an arrow and everything. The tail end of that, Mount Shocker too, puts him at about a 5th of his health, forcing that vengeance. Ooh, it's so hard to be Ferds in this matchup.
Yeah. 3 deaths on the board. He's level 11, Edward's level 13. There's been a 2-level gap for the past 6-7 minutes between the 2 EXP laners. And again, it's not like Ferds messed up in the laning. It's really just that after that second turtle, it was a big swing because Aurora got bigger wins across the map after that, able to break down the tower in mid. It's a classic Aurora play. Second or third turtle, if you're not taking care of that mid lane minion wave, they'll push your tower in mid. And we've always talked about the Falcons when it comes to this. When their mid tower goes down first, they're a completely different team.
Yeah, it seems like even for Aurora, in a sense, it's like, this addition of light here, it seems smoother, I would say, for them. Now, it might be too early to say as it's only their first game of the season that we've seen, but they have control against a team like Team Falcons here.
This is what I was alluding to, man. Plug and play. Light just fits well. Even on a hero that has definitely lost its luster in recent times. High loss. Look at this. Edward coming on to Ogwin. Mountain Shocker by Demon Knight, revealing everyone, denying the purple away from Kyle.
I mean, think about it like this. You go from a coach that has taught you the fundamentals, now he's to a coach that'll help you master the basics. Bro, come on. And it's no surprise that Light is just playing really well. And if you look at his heat map is this center river, man.
Yeah.
And all of the vision that he's gotten for Falcons, for Aurora, and again, it was discussed in the Howl Keys to Victory brought by Wolf that Falcons need to find a way to stop Light from getting vision and getting info. They did not do that, hence why Aurora has just been so comfortable this whole game.
Yeah, you just get so much, I guess, vision and also control around these objectives because of what Light's able to do, what Edward's able to do on the Lapu Lapu, and it just lets Demon Kite kind of have this, I'm just going to chill and get this objective.
Ferds here gets caught out, forcing another vengeance. Gonna get taken down here by Yue. SOD, no one home. Few gets taken down, double kill for Yue. Down goes Kyle, so does the Lord. Aurora take 3, and the Lord for free. Falcons left reeling. They're gonna have to defend.
The Revitalize playing its part there, and now approaching the mid-base turret.
Add to that the killing spree. It helped Demon Kite get back to healthy, and now this is bad for Falcons.
It's just a bare base. Minions marching through in mid. Lord has spawned down bottom. Falcons are doing their darndest. It's just a single siege minion. I think Falcons are gonna be fine.
All right, they clear it out. Lord will make its way here, so RORA might look to go ahead and get the last 2 base turrets of Team Falcons, but again, even with a lead this far ahead, almost 10,000, Team Falcons has good clear. They can go ahead, clear things out the best they can, unless it's a forced situation, and RORA might just go for that. The turret here.
Demon Kite threatening, and I'm offended. Getting that close, does not have a flicker. Down goes that tier 3 up top. The inhibitor down bottom as well in jeopardy. Falcons no longer have any turrets, just their base standing. Ogwin here gets a face full of damage coming out of Aurora. Lord gets taken down. How does Falcons defend?
They're cleared right now. Kyle's going to be jumping to the front.
Ooh, I really thought Kyle would want a full commit there, but he really just pushed them back so that they can clear the minion waves a little bit better. And yeah, this is going to be a tough climb back for Falcons. I don't know if the people were able to see it, but Dominkite has War Axe, Oracle, Sea Halberd, Queen's Wings, and even an Azure Blade going into a Rose Gold Meteor.
Yeah.
There is not a lot of answers Falcons has for this Ruby. Now, again, as we've discussed with these kinds of lineups, it now falls into the hands of Super Marco on this Moskov to help turn things around. However, the good thing is they do have a Joy that could be their other potential key to victory, all pun intended now, for the remainder of this game.
Even Joy seems to be struggling with their farm. Kyle thinks he just built his 3rd item here.
Yeah, I mean, despite that initial burst he dished out onto Yue when he was pushing them back, that was surprising to me. That was only a Holy Crystal and the Genius Wand. So the addition here of the Lantern should be good for Falcons, and that Aurora need to watch out for, although their frontliners are not going to go down.
I'm offended coming through. Kyle gets taken down.
What?
The flicker surprises him. Now Ogwin gets cornered. AOG drops in that glorious pathway. Ogwin pops to revitalize as well. In comes Demon Kite. Light kiting the rest of Falcons. Super Marco winning away, throwing spear after spear after spear, and it's not going to be enough. Rora's so tanky.
Dude, this Ruby is stacked. There's way too much sustain there. Even the Falcons were able to drag that on longer, and Super Marco was hitting for free. It felt it was nothing for Dominkite.
This is the problem, though. Like, you just saw it there. Even with taking out Kyle Teasy, having the numbers advantage, catching out some of the members of Team Falcons, they still could have ended there. There's been a couple instances where it's like you think they can, but because you have Super Marco clearing these waves so insanely fast and the rest of the team able to help clear that, they should be able to defend their base like that. But now, can they contest this Lord? That's the next question. Super Marco did pick up a Malefic Gun. Here's a Conceal. Arrow, though.
That's a white brush. Flushing Marco out. Very low. Does not survive. Kyle Teasy takes him down, and AOG. Kyle Teasy falls. It's found by Light. Trying to space out Super Marco. In comes the rest of Rora. Birds takes down Demon Kite. 3 for 1 the trade for the first time in a while. The Falcons win.
What a turnaround by the Falcons! I thought it was looking so good, but we talked about it. The pickup on the item for Kyle Teasy. He started it, Ogwin answered, and the rest of Falcons followed.
Light tries to buy time, but at the cost of his life. I don't think that was worth it. Just Edward left on the map.
It's just Edward. You have to send Few to heal, handle with the base push. But this is going to get them the Lord. I mean, Team Falcons, you got to remember, they were down 10,000 gold defending their base. And maybe this is where, again, you're looking like, man, I wish this wasn't a Ruby in the gold lane we had.
Cut that lead in half. Nay, cut it in half again. Aurora are now just up barely 3,000. And there's a Lord marching up top. Falcons, they may have found their power spike.
Yeah, they got it. Holy shit, what a turnaround. Now even the Divine Glaive there on the Kagura. You have the Blood Wings already for Kyle. He just built the Lantern before that, and then now he has an extra item to boot. Super Marco now has the Rose Gold Meteor full build. Aurora need to watch out because again, Naisu, as you mentioned, now they're going to be wondering, oh, I wish we had a different pick other than a Ruby at this portion in the game.
There was a good window for it to work.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Mid lane, it's going to be pressured down. But again, even with the gold lane Ruby, a lot of the instances that we see, especially when you're pushing in the base, you need that flicker available. And there was a time when they possibly could have ended the game, but the flicker wasn't there for Dominkite, wasn't online. So they couldn't force the situation to end. And now they're facing down a potential push from Team Falcons. I'm not sure if it's going to be a push to victory just yet. But right now, Super Marco's locked and loaded. So this Lord will go ahead and march on in. And they're going to be knocking on the base here of Aurora.
You throwing out prayers and arrows to try and stop Falcons from pushing in. The siege continues as waves crash through top, mid, and bottom. Kyle Teasy ushering waves through mid and
What?
bot. The AOG coming in from Ogun. Might have pulled the trigger too soon. Glorious Pathway
Marco.
in. Dom and Kite still alive. In comes Kyle Teasy from the side lanes. Dom and Kite and Demon Kite wailing away. Super Marco. It's Light. He's got him, but there's not enough of a support. Not enough artillery. Down goes Light. Put to sleep. And that's all she wrote. Aurora just lose the roamer.
My goodness, what a cover by Few, and the fact that Super Marco was able to bring his Wind of Nature up just in time, get the wind chant off so that it reduces the damage that Edward was dishing out on him, and that extra bit of help from Few ensured that Light wouldn't be able to finish the job.
And they've done everything they could to get the game now in their favor, completely demolishing the 10,000 gold deficit that Team Falcons was facing. They've brought it down to basically anyone's game. The next time this Lord comes up, both teams are in good fighting form. The one advantage for Aurora is they've still got 2 base turrets. That is an advantage that they can play into. Now the hardest part is, how do we catch Super Marco? A couple arrows have landed here. You know, Dome and Kite, like I said, he's got to rely when that flicker is available. Maybe that's the answer, but even with Light charging towards Super Marco with a Glorious Pathway, Team Falcons is doing what we've seen them do every single time. They protect Super Marco so well.
It can't just be Light. I think Falcons, they understand that Aurora had only one entry in that defense up top. Maybe if Aurora can find an angle elsewhere, if they can flank Marco, that could be their way in.
It's also difficult to do that. Aurora's getting divided and conquered with one umbrella. An umbrella toss by Few zones out Aurora so much.
And we're going back to a problem they had at the 2-3 minute mark. It's just AoE versus single target damage.
Yeah.
Aurora just has to pick and choose. Falcons can just go, all right, we don't have to fight this, we'll move on.
Yep.
And then it's really only Marco who says, all right, let's kill this guy.
I'm just gonna say though, if Super Marco misses the SOD toss here, Falcons are gonna be forced to fight it out and hope that Marco can split push to win. But they might not even just take that risk. They might ask Marco to join in. Aurora's not rushing. They want to play for the slower dance.
Could be the 5 million peso SOD.
5 million.
I just pulled that number out of my
I was gonna say, where are we getting the 5 mil? 50,000 diamonds.
Can I get
There
in
you
some
go.
of that? Can I get some of that?
If Marco hits it, yes.
Okay.
If
Oh no, he's just walking there.
Yeah, he's just walking, yeah. Yeah, see, they don't want to risk it.
He doesn't want to.
Because they knew if they miss that SOD and
over.
they're banking on that, yeah, Aurora's gonna win it.
Might as well join this because this is also a beefier Lord, so...
Dominkite, perfect spot for Dominkite.
Yeah, Dominic
I don't think Falcons has eyes on that spot. Oh, and
they
they
got
rotate, they rotate.
Yeah.
They got it now.
All right, Kyle walks in, flushing Dominkite out of the brush, and the Lord dance continues.
This is going to be a long one right here, especially now.
The waltz.
Yeah, the waltz. Holding it together because, again, you got to kind of calculate this Lord take. It hurts. You know, you got to have juggled around by multiple members, and you got to watch out because you don't want to overstep this. So neither team really wants to commit to this. You got Super Marco back down on that bottom side. Well, maybe now is the call to be like, you know what? I will just join with the SOD.
I appreciate the slow dancing, but I would like to see some aggressive crumping now at this point, please. just make it sweaty.
Like step up.
Yeah. Oh, no, I think Falcons has an opening to rush this with Edward in here in the bottom lane.
Yep.
Oh, Edward's
They
there.
see that.
But I don't know if they can blitz this Lord, man. I don't think they... Especially without Marco's like, I'm coming up, never mind, I'm going down.
He's playing super macro right now. And this might be the right call for Aurora. For Falcons. Considering that the sheer burst that Aurora has is still on the table, and I think Dominkite still can survive for a significant amount of time to help set up the damage eventually coming in from Demon Kite. If they can somehow catch Edward out of position, but it's Edward the one who's clearing the lane. Yeah, it's tough for Falcons. They don't want to take the 50-50, so they're trying to find an opening through macro and minion wave control, but it's Aurora. They're so good at that.
Yep. And Aurora know that they can't afford two lanes open because their lineup sucks at clearing waves.
Yeah.
So they would rather win the map first and then work for the fights.
Yeah, one thing to have to consider here for Super Marco, there's two blade armors. The two dudes who will be most likely chasing after you, the Lapu Lapu and the Hylos, both have blade armors on them.
Yeah, so he's going to have to keep that check. Kyle, though, couldn't be spotted out here, but again, it's both teams just kind of at the standoff. They don't know if they can full send and take on the Lord here.
All right, RORA a little scattered for the first time in a while. They actually paid attention to their side of the orange jungle. And now it's Falcons who has control of the majority of the Lord pit. Lord now at a third of its health, the lowest it's been for the past 2 to 3 minutes. And we get another reset.
Yeah, they don't even want to fully push this because the pressure from RORA, there's a conceal though.
Coming in from Ogwin, the Mountain Shocker. Lord here at a quarter of its health. Oh, damn, but it gets taken down by Ogwin. Now it's on like Donkey Kong as Falcons collapse. Down goes Ewan, down goes Domin Kite. Super Marco finds him. They do pop few, but it's too late. Super Marco gets a double and they're wiped out. Aurora off the map. Falcons take him down. No one blinked. No one breathed. The Falcons are on their way to taking game 1.
And with the march into the base, Team Falcons will take game 1. It was a long one, much longer than we've seen in the previous match, but they'll take game 1.
Oh, monster of a game. That little conceal, I thought it